You may start now.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Terence from GSMA, heading APAC 5G Industry Community. Welcome again to join our Community Industry Interest Group workshop. So today, this is a joint community event working together with GSMA Digital Industries Forum, headed by my colleague Joe Gilbert in UK, and also supported by 5G ACIA, which include organization of OT and ICT industry that jointly strive the interest of industry domain in the 5G standardization and regulation. So today we will explore about how 5G is powering digital industry across APAC and Europe. This is a virtual workshop. Welcome to post your question in the Q&A boxes, as our speaker will answer online or follow up offline. So this workshop also provides simultaneous translation on Mandarin. So if you want to listen Mandarin, please select the Chinese channel in the interpretation button in the Zoom. Today, we again have a very good lineup of speakers from APAC and Europe over the coming 1.5 hour content. For the agenda, you see that after myself and Joe have a quick introduction about our community, and then we will have the first speaker from 5G CIA, who will deliver about the current and future of connected industry and automation. And then next, we have an operator speaker from AIS Thailand. She will talk about how operator platform can help manufacturer building advanced manufacturing. Next, and then we also have another keynote speaker from Huawei, who will talk about why modernizing mining industry with 5G. And then finally, we have a very good line of panel speaker across APAC and Europe, from Telkomsel in Indonesia, Vodafone in Europe, Siemens, and also Lacoste. So now let's start. If you don't know about GSMA, we are a global industry association represent more than 1,000 operators worldwide. We drive industry programs that add value to the digital economy, working with our member and government over 200 markets. So GSMA, every year we produce very large conference, produce a leading industry event like MWC, Barcelona, Shanghai, Las Vegas, and Africa this year. We also won a regional conference, Mobile 360. We have one APAC event in Singapore on next September 2023. As of end of Q2, actually there are worldwide mobile operator, mobile 5G. Just in APAC and Europe, you will see already 17 and 34 market respectively mobile 5G. So the momentum of 5G is very strong, including APAC. So in GSMA APAC region, we work with government, mobile operator, and also enterprise and technology leader, and also some vertical industry association and alliance to form the APAC 5G industry community last year. So we're very focusing on a few sectors in the last year to support manufacturing, healthcare, and also logistic, port and transportation. So let's review what we have done in the last year with some numbers. So I hope you enjoy our video. So welcome to join our community to access our resources. You already recorded a lot of resources online. Welcome to register here. And then you will be able to work with our digital pioneer for proof of concept or for real commercial trial of 5G. And then, of course, the very best of you, we will provide you speaking opportunity, business matching, case study. So welcome to join us. Looking forward, we have a list of activity planning ahead for over the next 12 months. I would like to promote you about the Mobile World Congress Barcelona on February. So welcome to join us because we will run different kind of activity, including 5G Industry Alliance Summit, Manufacturing Summit, and other activity. Welcome to join. So now let me pass to my colleague, Joe, who will share you about what Digital Industry Forum have done. Over to you, Joe.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Terence. It's great to be here doing this joint event today. It's really great and fabulous video as well, Terence. I don't think I've seen that before. Really great stuff. So the GSMA Digital Industries Forum is a group that brings together manufacturers and enterprises, network operators, and the wider ecosystem. So we're a global community. We were established in 2020, and at the moment we convene around 60 organisations in that community. We're guided by experts in our steering group. Our joint chairs are from KPN and Telefonica, and we have co-chairs from Airbus, Geo and Verizon. And if we can move to the next slide, please. And our objective of the GSMA Digital Industries Forum is to connect the benefits of 5G for the industrial sector. So as the industrial revolution continues towards digitalisation and connected intelligence, together this group explores all of the aspects, right from raw material extraction through refinery, supply chain, component production, and into assembly and smart warehousing. So we're interested in the whole value chain. And as I've mentioned, we bring together those mobile network operators, the enterprise and the broader ecosystem, as you can see in the horizontal bar, to support these kind of 5 pillars. So the first is about understanding business and the operational needs across the industrial value chain. And the next is about identifying innovation and collaboration opportunities, you know, how our various members can work together. We want to lift barriers to the digital transformation in the sector, so understand what some of those barriers are and see how we can support their removal, sharing key knowledge, of course, and then finally driving new relationships with the wider ecosystem to achieve that as success. So if we move to the next slide, I think this next slide is just reiterating our scope. And as I've already mentioned, so I won't hover on this slide, but we cover the whole value chain right through raw materials to distribution. Previously, actually, the forum is known as the 5G IoT for Manufacturing Forum, but we've recently renamed GSMA Digital Industries to fully reflect the scope that we have. So if we move to the next slide, please, this is just a brief kind of summary of the kind of content that we're involved with. So we meet around 4 or 5 times a year, and that's a mixture of remote and in-person. And we're hoping to have at least 1 or 2 in-person meetings during 2023. We also deliver a number of webinars similar to this joint one here, but throughout the year as well. We have the Manufacturing Summit at Mobile World Congress, which Terence has just mentioned at the Industry City. So we are currently planning and organising for Barcelona in February next year. And then also we have workstream collaborations. And this slide just gives you an example of the kind of collaborations that we're working on at the moment. So industrial brownfield deployment framework. So we've currently got some operators and enterprises looking at a framework for addressing how to deploy 5G and 5G related technologies in a brownfield site. We're also have a focus at the moment on network requirements for private network and some of the specific use cases around that. And we're just starting also to look at industrial devices and their availability and some of the factors affecting the availability of 5G enabled devices. So we're always looking for contributors to any of our work streams from the Digital Industries Forum. So I think we move to the next and last slide from me, please. Thank you kindly. So yeah, the joining criteria. We are always welcoming new network operators, new enterprises and members of the wider ecosystem to the Digital Industries Forum. It's not a prerequisite to be a member of the GSMA in order to join us. What we do ask is that an organisation has an interest in the digital transformation of the industrial sector and also has a good understanding of the industrial sector and or the 5G technologies that are going to be beneficial. And this is to ensure that we have valuable input during the meetings and good participation, and that we can move our ideas and activities on. So if you are interested to join us, please, well, you can check out our information at the website gsma.com/IoT/manufacturing, or contact us via email at manufacturing@gsma.com, and we'd love to hear from you to talk to you about joining our community. So I think that's everything from me. Terence, back to you.
Thank you, Jo. Thank you very much. Now let me introduce the next speaker, which is from 5G ACIA, Ulrich Rivers, the Working Group 2 Chairman, Ecosystem Regulator Framework. And also Ulrich is also from Nokia, Head of Spectrum Policy. So over to you, Ulrich. You can start sharing your slide. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So good afternoon to those in Asia. Good morning to those in Europe, where I'm based, actually in Munich, Germany. So 5G ACIA, who are we? Let me go here to a slide with a lot of logos. And as introduced already by Jo, there are on the one hand side, big names from mobile operators, then also suppliers to the mobile world, 5G experts, let's say, like ourselves. But then certainly there is a huge number of important players in the OT, operational technology domain. And you see lots of these logos outshining here. So the goal is really to work together to put the right requirements onto the further evolution of 5G and make 5G, for instance, in the factory a reality. So we are organized in a way with a board, then 5 working groups, where I'm still chairing this working group 2 on ecosystem and regulatory framework. But we certainly start from the use cases and requirements in that working group 1, looking at system architecture and integration aspects in working group 3. Then there is a working group that does the external liaisons and the marketing, and then a working group 5 who really look into the industrial 5G in practice, meaning test beds and such activities. So our major achievements over the past few years. So I think a very important one is really giving the OT industry a voice in 3GPP. So 5G ACIA is a 3GPP market representation partner, so officially funneling requirements of that sector into the further development of 5G and then eventually into 6G. So, and for that, you certainly need to have a common understanding among members and relevant players what 5G, industrial 5G can actually do, and maybe also where limitations are. Then quite some relevant work has been done on how to implement 5G in factories. And there are 2 examples depicted on the right. So one approach having pure standalone networks, basically completely separated from any public network, maybe just with certain highly secured interfaces. And then the other extreme, fully integrating 5G networks in the factory into public networks with the means of network slicing of 5G. There are also steps in the middle where much of the services, for instance, could be on a core network deployed actually in the factory on own dedicated radio resources, but those radio resources then shared also with the public network. So there's a whole range to discover there. And that certainly also translates into certain spectrum assignment models, which then would be my special area, let's say, within my home company, Nokia. But then there's lots of technology things to be looked into, integrating into the existing environments, like working towards OPC UA, to working towards all the LAN specifications. So integrating with those technologies already implemented on the shop floor and also further evolving. Then looking into the digital twin topics of Industry 4.0, the integration into the IT environment. Then we are having certainly internal meetings like plenaries, where you see a photo on the right-hand side, often combining them with workshops for the entire industry. So that was in Coventry in the UK 2020, one big one. We've just recently had one in San Diego in a similar fashion. So to also invite other members or other organizations to work with them, eventually even inviting them for membership. There's lots of international collaboration. So you see the GSMA logo here. Maybe outstanding again, the 3GPP logo here in terms of being that market representation partner. We recently also engaged with the ITU, being asked to contribute to document on IMT industry, as well as the 6G vision of ITUR. Then two example test beds here, just to show that it also goes really towards the practical implementation, mainly represented in that working group 5 that I've shown in the first slide. Typically a test bed then looks into specific aspects of 5G in a factory environment. So where are we with industrial 5G today? So on the top line, you see a few numbers from the public network domain. So like figures from June 2022, but just to give an indication. So maybe 218 live networks counted, then live 5G networks counted, 24 standalone networks with a new standalone architecture of 5G, roughly covering 25% of the population. That's a figure from end 2021. And then with something like maybe a 24 gigabyte data being carried per subscriber, a figure from South Korea. Whereas on the private network side, well, there are much higher numbers because these are much smaller networks, certainly. But maybe the important thing is this number is expected to grow hugely, almost a factor of 10 in 5 years. And then you also see that in 2022, we expect the IoT connections to outgrow actually the world's population by a factor. And then that to grow further, well, and that may not even look moderate as an expectation, only doubling in 5 years. But it shows that there's a very relevant size in those markets to be expected. 3GPP shall address these needs. So release 15, out for a while, had been targeting mainly this enhanced mobile broadband case. And this is what had been shown in these top numbers on the last slide. But there also had been certain support already for ultra reliable low latency communications. And then certain key features really targeting exactly that with low latency and high reliability. But then release 16 brings quite some advancements for industrial IoT. So the time-sensitive networking support, positioning, which is very relevant to support many use cases in the factory, time synchronization and so forth. Release 17 further enhances efficiency and scale for those features, specifically towards URLLC. And then release 18 even further expands use cases, specifically getting into augmented reality or virtual reality, remote control media production, which is also an interesting topic, that there are lots of parallel requirements from a factory environment towards like a movie production studio in terms of the reliability, in terms of the timing requirements. Then spectrum certainly is a hotly debated topic. So there is access to spectrum for vertical industries now in quite a number of countries. This may have different, there may be different models in place, either real dedicated spectrum directly from the regulator. There may be leasing models and other options. Just to give you a number from Germany, where I am based, so there are now over 260 licenses granted in that set aside in 3738 gigahertz, and also in the millimeter wave range, there is an option in the 26 gigahertz. So far, 15 licenses granted. Apparently, C-band, mid-band spectrum is also the easier choice for vertical industries at the moment, but also enterprises now starting to play in the millimeter wave range. So, how do we continue with industrial 5G? So on the one hand side, 5G certainly further evolves in the consumer space, and that is probably for quite a while also the main driver in the standards. Whereas this industrial 5G, which is more a revolutionary approach to bring some well-standardized technology into the very specific industry environment. So why had it been lagging behind to some extent? Well, focus certainly had been on what mobile network operators need for their public network, so it started a bit later. Then certain key features have been only in release 16, 17, and you've seen them, seen an idea on that on one of the last slides. So also the support for any special tasks takes some time. So also on the user side, so this is something that is growing, but still requires a bit of time. Then performance needs to be validated, and so forth. The buying cycles and the buying criteria are different in industry environment. So you have these different innovation cycles. The ecosystem has to evolve also on the terminal side. So the usual chicken and egg challenges with anything being a bit more revolutionary. So there are specific topics of interest, a few of them shown here. So one thing is certainly this industrial 5G and edge computing. So how do you get the performance right in terms of really bringing the computing itself very close to the shop floor? How do you integrate with the existing shop floors? Then there are lots of use cases getting more and more advanced, also triggering and bringing up new requirements. We also look into what the market is delivering and also how it will evolve. And then certainly lots of work towards really hands-on guidance, best practices, these test beds that we are working on to really make things reality in the practical implementation. So to summarize, 5G ACIA has a strong portfolio of relevant topics under works. So there is a list here of topics. Probably I don't need to read out all of them to you here. What I can say is certainly go to the webpage www.5gacia.org. There is a number of white papers on those topics that we consider relevant and that may be of interest to you. So those span a wide range of implementation topics, as well as like these architecture models for non-public networks and so on and so forth. So also, if you're interested, 5G ACIA certainly welcomes new members. We have like plenaries, 4 to 5 plenaries a year, one coming up in Frankfurt in December timeframe, where also guests are invited typically. There is the possibility then as a member to really actively shape the work in planning workshops, where we try to really focus our efforts on those topics which are relevant for members. And then, let's say, it provides a space to discuss things, also for companies who may not have like the full domain knowledge. They may benefit a lot from the internal thought exchange within 5G ACIA. So with this, I thank you very much for your attention, and stay online for questions if there are any in writing. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Ulrich. I think it's very comprehensive to let everyone understanding what 5G ACIA is doing. It's very helpful. I think there's a lot of white paper available in the 5G ACIA website. We will post the website link in the chat box. Ulrich, there are already some questions to you. Please stay to have to answer some questions in the Q&A boxes. So now, let me introduce the next speaker from AIS Thailand, Ms. Ranvisa Jantara, Head of Enterprise Account Sales Group, B2 from AIS. So she will talk about how operator platform help manufacturer building advanced manufacturing. Ulrich, can you stop sharing? Yes, please. Over to you, Ranvisa. You can share your screen.
Okay, good morning, Europe.
Can you, yes, oh, okay, now see it. Thank you. Over to you.
Yes, thanks, Terence. So, Sawadika, everyone. So, it's my honor to be here sharing how AIS as the operator in Thailand, helping a manufacturer to build a smart manufacturing solution. So before we go into the how we do that, so let me introduce myself a little bit. Right now, I'm a head of sales for AIS Enterprise Business Department. So what I'm serving right now is over 2,000 accounts for enterprise market in Thailand, which is across many industries. But this year, we see many potential, we see many demand from a manufacturing customer. This segment, we got a very high requirement from them. So that's why today I'd like to share you that how as the AIS operator support the requirement from the manufacturer. So before we go to that, let me share you about our mission on this AIS for the business solution. So for us, we aim to drive and support Thailand digital economy. We are helping our customer to transform a digital transformation for Thai business. Why we so confident on this? Because we believe that based on a good network that we have, we can deliver a product together with a trusted and professional services to our customer. So that's why we think we are a key player to drive a digital economy for Thailand. So how we do that? Let's start with the network infrastructure. For 5G, we are an operator who have a bigger capacity for 5G in Thailand. So we have get a spectrum starting from a low band at 700 megahertz, a mid band at 2.6 gigahertz, high band at 26 gigahertz, which is this high band is a good spectrum for an industrial requirement. So from this, we get a good infrastructure, but we not only stop on this. We develop our platform in order to serve the requirement based on a private network, either dedicated or share private network, a network slicing, edge computing, and recently we just launched our 5G next gen platform, which is the platform that can helping partner to develop a 5G solution with a fast and easy way to provide a solution. Like you can create your profile of your application on our platform, And then you also can select whether you want to locate your application to serve in Bangkok, in the capital of Thailand, or outside Bangkok, which is in the regional area. So all these things will help to make a good solution and can deliver a low latency and a high speed throughput to serve those solutions, which is on top of this platform, we can deliver a good AR, VR, video analytics, and robotics. However, we not only stop on this. This year, when we found many opportunities, we found the demand from a vertical sector. So this year, we try to work to do an end-to-end solution. So this end-to-end solution is mean we will not work alone as a telco or ICT operator. We work together with our partner, and I will show you how we do that later on. But beside a good network, a good platform to deliver a solution, this year we also building a 5G Next Gen Center, which is located at Thailand Digital Valley. So for this center, we aim to propose 3 key things. First thing is to let all the Thai people who interested in 5G and next and technologies to learn and experience about 5G solution. Second thing is about to idealization. So this one is mean we provide a labs and also a test facility for our partner, for our customer. They can come to test to develop the application based on 5G and other technology that we can do, and we serve them on this. And last but not least is about the realization. So in order to create a good application, then you can make a practical and turn it into a commercial to serve our customer. So that's what we have in a 5G Next Gen Center. So I would like to invite all of you here. If you have a chance to visit Thailand, please don't forget our 5G Next Gen platform at the EEC area, Thailand Digital Valley. So next one, let's go into detail how we actually do that. So as I mentioned before, we are working as a telco and ICT service provider. So how we gonna deliver an end-to-end solution for the industrial customer? So we work together with our partner, which is they're very expert on the OT factory solution, plus the ASI who have a good experience and who can do a system integration for us, starting from the network layer, hardware, device, software, application, and also integrate everything at a total solution to deliver to a manufacturer. So right now we have many OT and SI partners work together with us. For example, Schneider, Mitsubishi, Siemens, Omron, and SI like NCS, TCS, or local SI like TKK, Tara, which is the association in Thailand. So that is the key factor for us to deliver a solution for our manufacturer in Thailand. So if we go into a big picture for our partner and the whole ecosystem. So on the left side, you can see we have many of digital technology partners. On the telco partner, on the ICT partner, together on the right side, we have an industrial expert, who specialize on the industry area. Last but not least, who is very important to drive all this business to make it happen in Thailand is our government and the regulator, together with the R&D that we work with many universities in Thailand as well. So that how we develop 5G smart solution for Thai. So today, I'd like to show you the collaboration that this year we have recently worked with Huawei as a 5G vendor with us. CSN, who is one of the biggest Chinese robotic company. SSQ is the SI for this solution to deliver a solution for Somboon Advanced Technology. So what we have done at Somboon Advanced Technology is to serve them into 3 use cases. The first use case is about forklift AGV. Second one, robot arm and ASRS warehouse. Before adopt a 5G solution, they're using very compact cable in their factory together with the Wi-Fi, which is definitely being interference by many electronic devices in the factory and impact to the efficiency of the production line, especially for the AGV. Plus, the way that the supervisor get very challenged to monitor the production efficiency when he is away from the factory, whenever he go to the other plants or he go back to the headquarters. So for us, we're helping them to develop a 5G solution. So with this 5G solution, it can serve 3 use cases under one 5G network solution with a secure and stability of a network to deliver a better production and the efficiency. As well as for the supervisor, he can monitor the result via their mobile device, though they are not in the factory. So this is the solution that we have delivered and work with Somboon Advanced Technology. So I think I would pause it here and let you hear from CEO of Somboon to tell you how she think about this.
Somboon Advanced Technology, Thailand's second largest auto parts manufacturer, is providing over 50 types of auto parts for the world's top 10 car brands. Before implementing 5G, Somboon had struggled with order fulfillment efficiency. With many different customers and products to deliver, as a consequence, it was difficult to get everything delivered accurately and on time.
Let's see how the Somboon factory utilize 5G technology to realize automatic logistics and smart warehousing. Come to follow me.
The 5G network covers the whole plant, and more than 100 devices have been connected.
To be competitive in our regional global markets, industry digitalization has always been Somboon's core strategy. 5G and cloud is the key technology for digitalization. SAT has implemented new solutions for digital transformation, which are 3D vision robot, ASIS warehouse, and unmanned AGV. With the collaboration work with CSR, AIS Business, and Huawei, 5G and cloud network have deeply dived into our production.
Here we see how the 5G AGV are being used in the factory.
5G can provide a network with zero packet loss and zero downtime, even in a complex factory environment with lots of AGVs working at the same time. When the partially finished axles are transferred to a production cell, the robotic arm must sort them onto the different production lines. The 5G network provides an uplink rate of more than 100 megabytes per second. This ensures the error-free transmission of the HD images so that the parts can be quickly and accurately moved.
After mechanical processing, the finished axles need to be transported to the warehouse.
The 5G network can provide good coverage and low latency in such a complex environment, ensuring that stackers and other AGVs can collaborate seamlessly with the warehouse system.
The 5G enable automate, process double the inbound and outbound efficiency. That's how 5G make operations smart.
Thanks to Khun Napasorn for commitment and inspiring vision to embrace a leading digital transformation towards Smart Factory 4.0 with collaboration of Huawei and CSR, providing 5G total solution to enable Somboon's digitized solution and overcome the changes of the digital world together.
In the very near future, 5.5G will enable more use cases and enable more industry digitalization. There is no doubt that more innovative services are coming, and that 5.5G will pave the path to a more intelligent world.
So thanks very much, Terence. That's all from my side today.
Thanks, Marisa. I think it's a very informative presentation, especially know about how 5G is being adopted in a real environment in Thailand. And congratulations to launching the next gen platform. I think it's very should be very helpful and easy for supporting enterprise to roll out 5G. Thank you very much. Please stay for a while. I suggest if the audience, if you have any question to Marisa, you can post the question in the Q&A boxes. She will stay behind to answer. Thank you very much. So now let me introduce our next speaker, who will bring us to a cold store into an open field area or an underground area. So David Smith, Head of Ecosystem from Huawei SPO Lab. He will talk about how 5G modernizing mining industry. Over to you, David. Marisa, can you stop sharing? Marisa, are you still here? Please stop sharing. Thank you.
I think she is still sharing there. She just needs to click on the Zoom button to stop sharing.
Okay, now
there we go.
Thank you.
Very good. Can you see my screen yet? Give me 2 minutes, 1 minute. Now, has that come through?
Yes.
Excellent. Just give me 2 seconds then.
Yes. Yes, now is we can see it.
Okay. Perfect. Great. Well, look, good morning, everybody. Hang on a moment. It's really good to be with you today. My name is David Smith. I'm Head of Ecosystem Research here with Huawei's SPO Lab in Ireland. So it's a beautiful morning here in Ireland, and good afternoon and good evening to everybody out there as well. Today I'm going to be talking about smart mining and talking about the application and the influence of 5G into smart mining. First of all, I'm going to start looking at some of the global mining production, just to give you a figure for where, I suppose, the landscape that we're talking about. Here, this chart shows global mining output. And if we look at mining production, particularly in the APAC region, in Indonesia, in Philippines, in Thailand, and in China, that accounts for the majority of the mine outputting in the APAC region. And really, the main focus there would be copper, gold, coal, and of course nickel. And nickel, obviously, an essential element of the batteries that are coming out. And I suppose, you know, one thing that's happening is that there's increasing government initiatives and regulation on mining, mainly focused on worker safety and also on emissions. And this is really driving the need for more advanced monitoring and advanced control technology. And we can see these government's regulations are covering licensing, as they said, covering worker safety, covering environmental monitoring, and also air monitoring as well. And for example, we can see safety and environmental rules and enforcements happening in the coal mines in China, and in Indonesia, they're really focused on the surface mining regulation. And I suppose we're going to say, look at the role of 5G and smart mining is the solution for regulatory monitoring, but also it's there also more for efficient production, reducing theft, improving worker safety, and also protecting assets as well. The major mining companies are already working very closely with the carriers and Huawei on 5G mobile private networks and smart mining solutions combining 5G with technologies such as AI, IoT, cloud, and advanced analytics. These solutions are giving the mine operators access to real-time intelligent data, dynamic predictive feedback, and also advanced decision-making support as well. Let's look now at some of the end-to-end solutions for 5G smart mining. If we look at the safety side, This is an extreme environment, really an environment of dust, gas, and water. And this makes it very hard and very difficult to keep the workers safe. And this is actually driving the need to reduce the number of workers on the ground. And this in turn is driving the need for automation and robotics. So we're seeing automation and robotics throughout the whole process, including in the drilling automation as well. On the surveillance side, there's a need for much better visibility in the whole mining site. And some of these sites are absolutely massive. They could be 10 kilometers by 10 kilometers. So there needs to be a system in place that can detect changes in this environment and react fast to any potential disasters that may be occurring. In the underground system, it's also prone to severed wired cables, and it's also suffering from very poor Wi-Fi connectivity as well down there. On the system side, most mining systems are also at the moment quite siloed, with multiple systems that really can't talk to each other that well. There could be up to 6 safety systems in a mining operation, as well as many different fixed and mobile networks in there. And all of these need to field a centralized platform in a common control center. This complexity can lead to very inefficient mining operations or unsafe worker conditions. And all this now needs to be in line with the increasing regulatory requirements. One further point is, of course, the availability of labor. The average age of mine workers is 40, and as these miners retire, it's becoming very difficult to attract mine workers into this harsh and tough environment. But thankfully, solutions have evolved to meet these unique challenges. Starting in 2020, we saw the introduction of 4K high-definition video surveillance solutions, remote control of drilling, and the introduction of precise indoor position that facilitated indoor driving. And now in 2022, we've seen the evolution of AR-based remote maintenance support. We're also seeing more precise centimeter-based positioning and the availability of much more intrinsically safe devices as well. This is all happening below the mine surface. But now let's look at some very specific 5G solutions. We're seeing here that 5G video is providing real-time underground and surface visibility, and the system can automatically tag safety violation and produce infraction reports at the end of the shift. Using a 5G also overcomes the issues of rolling out and repairing long lines of fiber lines, or indeed the poor quality that the mines were traditionally getting from non-5G networks, particularly Wi-Fi networks. The 5G system can monitor people and assets for safety, but also prevent theft and prevent vandalism as well. Huawei has an integrated 5G CCTV system. It already has intrusion detection, it has face analysis, it has loitering detection, and indeed one remote unit can support up to 50 individual 4K video cameras. Huawei is currently working with a wide range of OEMs and partners to automate the assets using IoT and modems and CCTV. A private 5G network overcomes the issue of poor connectivity and poor grade images. The low latency of 5G and the high bandwidth allows the control center to see and control the assets in real time, underground or indeed above ground. This system helps keep the mining safe, but also helps keep the mine efficient. We can see here a remote control road header. This is the mining machine that's most common in the underground mines. And by using the remote controlled mine header, this reduces the amount of workers in some of the most dangerous areas where there's a constant threat of collapse, gas, or indeed landslides at the mine head. The road header cutting and drilling machines can be retrofitted with a 5G industrial CPE, and then the low latency of massive data uploads allows for real-time surface-based control. In an underground mine, conveyor belts can actually be massive lengths. They can be up to 20 kilometers long, and take the coal from the mining seam to the processing facility, usually above ground. The belt needs to run 24/7, so it needs to keep moving, or the mine operation may have to shut down. Traditionally, it took a team of about 20 workers to monitor this conveyor belt, and traditional camera systems could not see clearly through the mine dust and the coal dust. Using a 5G video system and AI video analytics, the system can be monitored more efficiently and much more safely from the control room. The system can spot belt misalignment, it can spot coal piling, and also spot foreign objects on the belt. It can measure the temperature of the belt and also look for signs of wear and tear and also water leaks. And it can also look for workers not wearing the appropriate safety equipment. When you combine 5G with an AI-based camera system, this allows multiple images to be stitched together to give you one view in real time. And combine this with the inbuilt dust filtration algorithm, this removes the dust and also removes the mist and gives a clear and full clear oversight from the control center. Mines are also using 5G for data collection from the sensors and from all the smart meters. These meters, they monitor gas, they can also monitor water levels on the ground, and they keep the mine operating within the increasingly stringent health and safety standards set by the regulators. They can also monitor soil movement for possible landslides, a constant threat in the underground mines. Currently, we are retrofitting the sensors and the meters using 5G CPE to connect them to the main control room. And also we're working with the OEMs to have 5G embedded into the design and the manufacture of future models. Huawei's own Mine Harmony is a next generation industrial IoT operating system. And it brings the multiple mining systems and the multiple devices data all into one hub and can display the data onto the mobile phones or indeed onto other handheld devices for the workers inside the mines. The 5G system also allows for augmented reality-based inspection and real-time help from remotely located experts. Using handheld devices or indeed hard hat mounted systems, local engineers in the mine can troubleshoot a maintenance project with an expert in either another part of the country or indeed in another continent. This can be done both on the ground and above ground using the 5G system, and the augmented reality system saves an awful lot of travel time and expense, as well as having less people exposed to the harsh working environment of the mine. Now let's look at one real-life case study here. The Yangquan Coal Mine Industry Group is a Fortune 500 company operating 41 mines. One of their subsidiary companies is the Yangmei Zhongyang, and we work together with them and China Mobile to install a 5G-based system underground into their mine. We use ATEX certified flame-proof and explosion-proof devices, and we launched a 5G mining system in 2020. The system combined a fiber system for the above ground connectivity and then a 5G mobile private network for the underground connectivity. The mobile private network gave full communication security and also uses 5G CPEs to connect up the equipment and the 4G cameras to give full mine visibility from the above ground control center. If we look at the 5G project's roadmap and rollout, we can see it was done in actually 3 very distinct stages. Starting in 2020, they introduced robots on the rail, remote control of the road header, and indeed central control of the mining shields that provide the vertical and horizontal supports for the tunneling. The first phase relied on 5G-based uplink support. In phase 2, this started in 2021, we introduced 5G smart miners lamps, and these actually had integrated gas detectors on them. We added unmanned driving for both passengers and indeed for mining equipment, and then again, augmented reality-based operations and maintenance support. This phase really relied on the 5G-based ultra reliability, low latency communications, and also on that precise 5G-based positioning, and also brought in AI and cloud-based capabilities. In the third phase in 2020, we introduced 5G smart IoT sensors to detect fluid, to detect gas, and also to monitor the soil levels. This centimeter level location and precise asset positioning was used for location of assets and also prevent theft and vandalism, as well as using push to talk over cellular in the ruggedized 5G handset for voice communication. This China Mobile system can give an uplink speed of 1 gigabit per second in the 5G underground mine. So that's just a very quick overview of the 5G mining using some Huawei equipment. I know that we're planning a session, I think later or early next year, that'll probably look more in depth on the 5G mining, and today is really just a flavour and an introduction to that. Over to you, Terence.
Thank you, David. Thank you for promoting the next energy and mining section on January. Yes, I think there's a huge interest in APAC across different markets, as you mentioned. Mining is a very important. I think just a few months ago, the Prime Minister of Indonesia also mentioned that they need to modernizing the mining industry with 5G specifically. So we're really looking forward to deep dive more detail and seeing more cases how 5G being adopted. So now we move to the final panel session, which is very good with a combination of speaker from operator, OT, manufacturer, and let me pass to Joe. Over to you. Please help to introduce the panelists.
Of course. Hi there. Thanks very much, Terence. So if the members of the panel would like to switch on their cameras and unmute themselves, that would be great. And while they're just doing that, just let's quickly recap what we've heard today. So first of all, we heard from Ulrich, who was sharing some information with us about 5G ACIA, the Alliance, and also mapped how the 5G releases are going to be helping to support industrial needs. And then, of course, what still needs to be done and some of the key topics, which were fascinating. Then we heard from Onvisa, who was sharing the AIS experience of and the approach in Thailand, and talked about the roles and values in partnerships. And of course, that was a really great video use case that brought to life how 5G was having an impact in the Songbun organization. And then finally from David, who kind of built on that as well and talked a little bit more about some of those 5G use cases and how it's really supporting in mining, and we heard about some of those features. So that was really great to hear. And so now for this next section, we are going to build on that a little bit more with some experts from a number of industries, as you've just said, to help us to understand how we're able to, what the approach might be to deploying 5G digital transformation. So let me start first of all by introducing our 4 panelists. I can't see everybody on the screen, but I think that just be my view. Just bear with me. So I can see some faces. There we go. I can now, actually. So first of all, we have Jennifer Didoni, who is the head of Cloud, Edge and Mobile Private Network portfolio of Vodafone Business. So welcome, Jen. Lovely to have you here. We also have Stefan Gervais, who is the Executive VP for Strategic Innovation, Partnerships and Smart Data at Le Quart Group, which is a technology equipment supplier. And Fadli Hamsani, who is the General Manager for Industrial Internet of Things and Cellular Communications at Telkomsel, a network operator in Indonesia, and Sander Rotmanson, who is the Director for Industrial Wireless Communications at Siemens, the multinational industrial manufacturing company based out of Germany. So welcome, everybody. It's great to have you here. So as we have just little time, I'm going to move straight to the first question. And Jen, I'm going to start with you, if that's okay. So we've really heard today about some of the transformational impact that 5G can have. Can we hear from you how Vodafone is helping the industrial enterprise to deploy 5G, please?
Sure, absolutely. So I just want to say this is such an exciting community and group, because I really firmly believe that you have to bring a complete ecosystem together if you want to drive a proper 5G, private 5G deployment for a manufacturer. There's loads of different dimensions to look at, whether it's how you connect a legacy device, what sort of routers and the standards that those routers need to comply with, if there's a particular spectrum frequency or private SIM IDs, making sure that you have the right equipment and set up, how you then take that data and get it to the cloud or the application that requires it. And what other kinds of solutions do you want to bring on top of the private 5G? So there might be an initial use case that the customer is interested in, but actually to get the best return on that investment, there's a load of other low latency, high performant use cases that are easier to layer on top of the baseline foundation once you have the infrastructure in place. So for me, I think a key part of what we do as Vodafone is not just providing the private 5G, but also using our broader ecosystem, which includes many of the people here on today's panel, to make sure that we actually help and successfully deliver a transformation and a business case for our end customers. So, you know, we certainly have multiple different types of private 5G that we bring to our customers. And we leverage our 30 years of kind of mobile network experience in bringing really high performance deterministic connectivity to our customers. But also, I think the new role that you'll start to see Vodafone and other telcos playing is that we are also a bit of an orchestrator and an integrator and bringing together our ecosystem for our customers as well.
Fabulous. Thanks, Jen. Yeah, absolutely. I think this whole idea of bringing together the ecosystem, it's great to hear. It's something that we certainly share in the Digital Industries Group. And I think we've seen that through some of the presentations that we've seen today as well, kind of echoing that need for partnerships and ecosystems. So fabulous. Thank you so much for that. So Fadli, let's move to you. You are the GM for Industrial IoT at Telkomsel, but also you have a number of years experience working in a multinational manufacturing company prior to that. So you've kind of seen this from both sides, but can you explain the role of that Telkomsel is playing with the industrial digitalization? Yeah, what's going on with you guys?
All right, thanks, Joe. First of all, I would like to thanks for this community. Is really bringing that value for all the stakeholders, especially in the manufacturing, mining, or all the industry that are required to have this kind of the technology of the connectivity to support their businesses. So the first of all, I would like to say that especially in Indonesia, the government is launch one of the program to support the digital transformation program, what they call the Making Indonesia 4.0 since 2018. And they put one of the top priority from the 10 top priority to support this program is about the digital infrastructure. So this digital infrastructure is a point that the Telkomsel is coming from the business side to support, to enabling the solution of the connectivity to support the business of the digital transformation on each segment of the industry. This is the first point. And unfortunately, the manufacturing is the one of the biggest GDP coming from the industry to support the government. So that's why we are looking on that to support the digital infrastructure, enabling the 5G to the industrial part, to the private enterprise, to support them to enabling their program on the digital transformation. This is the first point. The second point is to look on the opportunity of the ecosystem, like what Jennifer said just now. So we orchestrate all the ecosystem partners that we have. We have already the install base of the connectivity together with the enterprise. And now we collaborate with all the principal, we collaborate with the system integrator, and we are the orchestrator of this ecosystem to bring and to giving the solution to them. One of the key points that we are working on today is not only to giving the connectivity, and we are working for the digital services, we are working for the digital platform. Of course, we are servicing also for the digital connectivity. And another point that we try to push in Telkomsel Enterprise now to support this kind of the business on the enterprise, manufacturing or mining, like David mentioned just now, is we are starting from the consulting and designing, because sometimes they know they're required about the connectivity. When we talk about the latency, we talk about the slicing and etc. But after that, they want to see about the solution. I'm lucky because last time I'm working on the manufacturing, Now I'm on the telco company, which is now is moving for the digital services, and we can understand very well exactly what is the requirement of the manufacturing and mining. Thanks, Joe.
Fabulous. Yeah, thanks so much for that. So yeah, really trying to get under the skin and understand what the requirements of the individual organization in order to help build or design and build that solution. And again, of course, echoing the ecosystem, which is certainly a big theme. Wonderful. Thank you so much for that. So we've heard kind of the operator side from there. So Stefan, perhaps I can come to you next. So you've had some experience as a manufacturer of deploying in a greenfield site a 5G enabled smart factory. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience, please?
Yes, Joe, indeed. And hi to all my friends in Asia, since I spent a quarter of my life there. So I'm very glad to share whatever I can with all my friends. So I'm sure you don't know Lacroix. Lacroix is a mid-cap company, about 5,000 people. And what we do, we are manufacturing EMS, electronic manufacturing assembly, and we're manufacturing on 4 continents. And what we do also, we design and manufacture also this type of product. And we were one of the very first in France to test the 5G. It was a few years ago in our old factory before we moved to a brand new factory. We just opened up. I mean, we had a nice inauguration in September. What we did is to try, I would say, innovation and new technologies before scaling them up on our new factory. So what we did some technical tests on 5G, which was pretty, we say, very good outcome. Since the manufacturing side, it's extremely, we say, constraining in terms of I would say RF communication. So all the type of RF communication were, I would say, pretty bad. 5G was really good in terms of communication side technically. And what we did also is to try to address some use cases like AGV, and we saw on the video before, AGV is definitely one of the great use case that you can use and test the 5G for this low latency, but also the higher bandwidth and the high reliability in terms of our 5G. We also had another, I would say, use case that we hardly see. It's this energy management. We use indeed the 5G to have a huge number of sensors all across the manufacturing site to really fine-tune very accurately the humidity level and temperature level, which can, I would say, save us a lot of money in terms of energy saving, especially now with the cost coming up. We talk about millions of euros per year just for energy there. We also use this for augmented reality with workers. It's something we do. We don't have a Google Glass, okay? This kind of Google Glass or whatsoever, let's be honest, is not suitable for people working all day there. We have the projected augmented reality, and but it was pretty limited. So we wanted to use the 5G to get way bigger bandwidth and training there, and also real time. We say real time dynamic updated on this what the worker have to do with this kind of projected way. So we had done many things, and this was pretty positive on most of the use cases here. However, one of it, and we did this with Orange, by the way. Orange was the operator who helped us on this one. The outcome on our side was that a hybrid network seems to be really the best solution and trade-off for us, meaning that a 5G is pretty complex to manage for, we say, a mid-cap company. You need to have an IT team which is expert on networking, which is not the case for most of the companies. So the best trade-off we found out was to get a 5G network operated by an operator, and this one is Orange for this case, but it can be of course any type of operators. And these guys are really dedicating some kind of bandwidth for specific application and on all sides. So we have a guarantee of high reliability for such a bandwidth, and for the rest, it's kind of public network for 5G, and seems to be for our case, mid-cap company, one of the best trade-off we find out.
Fantastic. Thanks, Stefan. That's a great insight, and also, yeah, great insight into the deployment model there as well. So Sander, let's come to you actually now, because you're joining us from Siemens, a multinational engineering business, and you're focused on wireless connectivity, wireless communications in your role. So from your perspective, what is the role of Siemens in the industrial 5G ecosystem? And do you feel that partnerships are relevant, as per seems to be the common theme in the call so far today?
So yes, I think, thank you, Joe. So we have almost 20 years of experience with wireless in industry. We've started with wireless LAN, as you see some legacy devices behind me as well. So we truly know what is necessary to bring a wireless technology into an industrial field, both from a hardware perspective as well as from a use case perspective, and what a technology needs to do. So for us, industrial 5G, or 5G, actually is the first technology from our point of view developed with industrial requirements kept in mind. And that's what you see with your LLC, for example, in the future. And that's why we, as Siemens, stepped up in 2016 and said, like, this is something we need to look at as a company together with our partners, depending on who they are as well, because the only real way to tap into all the benefits of 5G, and I think there's also a common topic, is a private 5G network. So with a private 5G network, you can really get to the bottom of the technology. And this is one of the reasons why we in Germany discussed or really joined the discussion about private spectrum. And then we do this also throughout the whole world to color that sheet of which Uli showed before today, completely purple, to give every country in the world a full 5G coverage with private networks as a possibility, because this is, from our point of view, the only way to really touch upon all the benefits of 5G and such. We work together in 5G ASEA. We were one of the founding members because we believe that it's better to have a joint voice from industry instead of all having different stories to tell and be in each other's way. So this is where we work together with mobile network operators, infrastructure suppliers, but also industry companies who have the real challenges in mind.
Great, thank you. Actually, as well, it looks like we have a question in from the audience that perhaps I can ask, and actually I might ask this to a few of our panelists as well. Brian says, we just want to know from the panelists to comment on spectrum cost implications for private 5G deployment versus telco-based for 5G. Obviously, very related to the comment that you've just made there. Would you like to comment now or come back to that one later?
Yeah, I can. I can comment now, it's no problem at all. So from my point of view, what we need to try to do is create a 5G solution which is capable to be used by small, medium enterprises. So we need to tailor make a solution based for industry. So we as Siemens are working on something which we will launch next year, a private 5G ecosystem, from core to RAN to industrialized end devices, which I have all around me, to make sure this is something everyone can use without having to take additional precautions. It needs to be easy. It needs to be able to be handled by current network operators in industry. And this is something we've done before with Wi-Fi, and I think this is able to be pulled off. And then if you look at spectrum costs, so for a plant in Germany of about 150,000 square meters, which is a good small medium enterprise plant, you're at spectrum costs for about 5,500 euros for 10 years. So that's cheaper as my cell phone contract. So if we summarize that all together in Germany, and you can have all the use cases supported with that network, because you have 100 megahertz of spectrum you can play with yourself.
Okay, great, thank you. I'll come back to that question, I think, as we move through the speakers, because I think it'd be good to get a view from across the board on that. Great question. So just following on actually from that, you've kind of talked about the plans that you've got in the future, and Siemens have recently launched a 5G test site in Nuremberg in Germany, which is dedicated to testing for the industrial use cases. So can you tell us a little bit more about that and how that is helping to define your planning for your own manufacturing premises, and also for, maybe you've touched on this already, but some of the products that you're looking to launch going forward?
Yeah, so absolutely. So November 2020, we started using our own prototype in the development stage into our automotive showroom and test center here in Nuremberg, or 50 kilometers away from where I'm right now. And this was the first step for us, using a 5G technology in a realistic industrial environment. This is done in an industrial hall where we have overhead monorail, AGVs running around and everything. So this was testing. And now as next steps, we've brought it, for example, to Hanover, where we have enabled the Hanover Messe to equip Hall 9 with a prototype of ours as well, where we invite small, medium enterprises to come test with 5G without having to early invest in a new technology, so they can really come play and see if their applications work with 5G without having to set up their own private 5G network, because it's already there. This hall is about 24,000 square meters in size, so you can drive a couple trucks around if you want to, or maybe just small, tiny AGVs. And then what we are doing this month, we are launching a new reference where we have brought 5G into our own manufacturing facility in Karlsruhe, where we are really using an early version of the product, which we will come to market next year, to really see how this behaves inside an industrial network in an industrial manufacturing site for discrete automation, where we really have everything from core to radio access network to our end devices mounted on an AGV, or an AMR in this case, autonomous mobile robot, running throughout the factory. So this is something really exciting, and therefore we always say we use what we sell, so we can really give a trustworthy outlook to our customers. So this works. This is not something we have just tried and it might work. So this really works and does the trick.
Wonderful. And I think that's one of the things that we've seen today. We've talked about the actual, we're really moving now from talking about what 5G can do to what it is doing. And it's really great to hear about all of these real deployments that we have. Yeah, so thanks for that. So Jem, maybe I could come back to you to talk about sort of private and dedicated networks. It's a theme that it's been mentioned, I think, by a number of speakers. It's a massively hot topic. We've heard it talked about today, but we've also seen a number of announcements from the market, from mobile network operators and vendors in the last 12 to 18 months with propositions out there. So within Vodafone, you're responsible for private networks, cloud and edge. So my question to you is, what benefits can a dedicated network resource deliver to an industrial organisation? But I'll also give you the opportunity, if you want to make comments about the spectrum as well, because it would be good to get your thoughts on the private spectrum side of things. So yeah, good to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, sure. So some benefits of private 5G, particularly for industrial customers that we see, is number one, having complete control over the performance of the network itself. Often industrial environments will have environmental factors that get in the way, say, of public coverage, for example. Whether you have large metal walls or chain link fences, etc., you can kind of tailor and design that network so that it propagates the way that the customer needs it to, and also adapt it when you want to make changes to the shop floor, for example. Another really important benefit is being able to control and know exactly where your data is going at any given point in time. So with private networks, you can place the entire network on campus and route the data and keep the data on site so that you know exactly where your data is going, which is another major advantage. It also delivers a lot of low latency when you have that kind of a configuration. So use cases that weren't possible before become very much possible now. It also has, the benefits of highly secure networks based on 3GPP standards as well. So yeah, lots and lots of different benefits that you can see. I think for Vodafone, we have many different configurations of private 5G that can be deployed. What we see the most from industrial customers is very much wanting to have that complete control of the data on site, and therefore a fully dedicated private network. But there's, of course, network slicing is an option, particularly when you pair it, for example, with distributed MEC, which is something that we have in the UK and Germany. So we kind of pull the cloud closer to the edge of the network, running sort of mini AWS regions from the heart of our network to be able to deliver low latency performance to the applications that need them across the macro network. You can deliver a network slice on an MPN as well if you want to run different use cases. And you can experiment with different configurations of hybrid networks. So you might want to be leveraging the existing macro network build out, but have that radio segregated for some private use cases while also having public coverage from the same infrastructure, which can be a more affordable way to look at deploying a private network as well. So we have a range, let's say, of implementations, and it's really, really important to work with the customer to really understand exactly what use cases are you trying to bring to life, and what sort of performance and security and data, and where do you want to run your data from, what kind of a cloud. And when you can put all of that together, at that point, you can start to design the right solution for the customer.
Fantastic. Yeah, thank you. Absolutely. I think that echoes maybe when we speaking with Fadli around understanding the requirements in order to build the solution. So there's a commonality there. There are a number of questions that are coming in around things like data security and another question on spectrum. But thinking about time, perhaps we'll be able to move to answering those via text, because I'd like to make a slight pivot now and come back to Stefan and pick up on what we were talking earlier about some of the IoT that you were talking about. So one of the key features of the industrial 5G is the ability to connect devices, of course, and sensors to monitor the environment, to inform decisions and to automate the processes. And we saw these examples with the mining examples and in the automotive earlier on in the session. But of course, this can lead to hundreds and even thousands of connected things in a factory, for example. Can you give us some insight into how you've managed the connection of those many connected things?
Sure, Joe, and it's definitely one of the I would say first outcome we got when we started the 5G in our factory. We've seen that we have a great connectivity, but we didn't get the right devices. And the issue as well is that each type of sensing element we needed to have was pretty specific. We cannot get a generic IoT device to get all the information from assembly line of SMT, or for oven, or for any kind of AGV machine and everything. So we needed to have all kind of specific devices with specific bandwidth and frequencies as well. So it's where we put our engineers in there, and we try really to see what we can do for ourselves, but can be also reuses for other people and customers. And when we've seen this, the ecosystem were really paramount in order to make sure that we can deliver this type of IoT device, and we can deploy them and scale them up. That's I would say that was a pretty big challenge, because we find out with some studies that about 90% of all the tests of proof of concept or whatsoever that you can start with IoT, 90% of this project were canned or killed before even being deployed or scale up. So, which is a huge waste of time and money and resources. And one of the main issues we've seen with say customers and other companies, that the ecosystem is and still is really highly fragmented and very complex. You have, of course, the telcos on one side. We have the chip makers. You have a design house. You have a manufacturing side for the electronic. you have the design for manufacturing. You have many steps indeed, which are not known or not very well masterized by any company who wants to get IoT. And IoT needs to be democratized because, as I mentioned, you need many type of IoT devices for many type of use cases there. So that's why what we have done there is to create a kind of we call this IoT continuum, where with some partners like Orange, Sierra Wireless, and ST Microelectronics, we put this together to get the full value chain from a chip manufacturer to design, manufacturing of electronic devices up to the telco deployment. We put them all together to simplify any kind of IoT development, especially with 5G, LTE-M, of course, and making sure that it's highly simplified for anyone who wants to get on board on IoT with 5G, but also to make sure that the deployment and the manufacturing is well taken into account, making sure that whatever investment is in there on testing things, then this test can go way beyond just testing and throwing away what has been invested there. So of course, this has some benefits. We got some first great successes in Europe, but we aim to do this also in Asia and in Europe, and extend our partnership, of course, to other companies. But with drastically reduced costs, risks, and this is definitely ensuring this continuity on the full journey from the hardware to software to connectivity, to making sure that we can scale up and we can get the fully customized IoT devices for each use cases. So this is one of the outcomes.
Yeah, thanks, Stefan. I think it would be great to be able to share some of the case studies on that as well,
Sure.
To share how you've approached that complexity. And again, to reiterate a theme, but ecosystems and partnerships and collaborations seems to be strong in there. So thank you so much for that. Okay, so let's kind of build on that and let's move to Fadli. So Fadli, let me turn to you to ask you a little bit about the data that's collected from all of these kind of hundreds and thousands of connected IoT devices in the industry environment. So I think we heard when in both the automotive example and also the mining example that the low latency and high bandwidth features can support these near-time processing and enable technologies such as computer vision, which we saw there, and autonomous mobile robots. So this seems to potentially complex in terms of the volume of data and multiple types of data. And, Stefan has mentioned about device management platforms as well for managing those devices. But can we hear from you how Telkomsel is approaching the data management? Because I understand that you have an approach for this, and it'd be great to hear how that is being managed from the Telkomsel perspective.
All right, thanks, Joe. Yeah, I think it's like what we heard from our colleagues here. Is Sander mentioned about some of the best practices there, and also Stefan just now is also mentioned about the data platform, etc. So it's really clear. The first point is what we are doing here in Telkomsel is we try to work together with the customers and try to measure what is their really need, their requirement of the process. Because again, when we try to, let's say, is giving the service of the private network or any solution of the connectivity for them, we need to understand very well where they want to create, what kind of the solution they want to apply to solve the pain point that they have on their industry. This is the first thing. We need to understand about the data. Let's say we connect to the PLC, we connect to the sensors, SCADA system, DCS, or ERP, or whatever is that want to connect it together, this is the goals of the digital transformation, to make all this data will not be a silo, right? So we try to communicate each other between the partner. Then the complexity is really there for sure. We need to understand which one is the quantitative data. We need to understand which one is the qualitative data. So it's really recommended to have the data lake. So which is maybe this data lake will be put on the mobile edge computing on the private network, for example, because like what Jennifer mentioning just now, some of the industry, they worry about the security. They want to see where the data working on. So then that's the best for them to make it. They can apply the mobile edge computing to support and also to create the data platform. This is the approach from Telkomsel. So then in this data platform, you can communicate with all the data from the OT, all the data from the IT, and breaking the silo of the system, breaking the silo of the data itself, and bring more the insight to the people. And then when we talk about the data, the data itself, it will be consist of the raw data. It will be consist of the trust data, the services data, tagging, discovering, classification will be done there. And then with this, they will move to the next stage of the calculation, statistic, and etc. And they visualize on the BI, the business intelligence, and then the visualization can be done on the web, on the mobile, on the virtual reality, on the augmented reality. Again, that require the low latency. So that's the, I think in generally how, if we see the data management for this kind of the complexity of the data management need to be managed on the mobile edge computing with a private network, or we need to have the data platform to manage all the sensor and etc. That's all from me, Joe. Thanks.
Fantastic, thank you. So having dedicated resources to managing that, I think sounds like probably a key requirement.
Yeah, that's what we are doing for the manufacturing in Schneider, and then for the mining in Freeport for the 5G.
Wonderful. Okay, great. And again, if you have use cases to share, we would love to be able to share those for you. Fantastic, thank you. Well, we're right up to 9:30, so we have still got quite a lot of questions. So hopefully we will be able to answer those on the text for you, and they'll be available afterwards. So thank you so much to the panelists for fantastic insight. And Terence, let me pass back to you to close the meeting.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks all the panelists. Just urge our panelists, please go to the Q&A boxes to take a look. I think the question is quite diversified. Some are mentioning the regulator question about the spectrum, the private spectrum in ASEAN country. I think some are related to security, and some are very specific to spectrum, and also some are very direct to market like Indonesia. So please stay for 3 minutes to answer some of the questions in the Q&A boxes. For the people who raised the question, you can also stay behind to see if we can answer your question. Otherwise, we will still pass your question to the panelists so that they can respond in the email. Okay. So I think today we have very good starting to bring 3 different communities together, including the APAC one, the digital industry community, and also the 5G and ACIA. I think thanks again. I think I heard a lot of good studying, good case study, and good insight about the challenge, but also a lot of opportunity, especially seeing the massive growing of the private network in manufacturing sector in different market, in different region. I think moving forward, we are looking forward, we can promote our work together, including some of the work from 5G ACIA. They're doing a lot of very good paper. And of course, my colleague Jo, she also working a lot on some right paper that could support industry for adopting 5G with best practice. And then of course, we also have our digital pioneer here who help us to share their firsthand pioneer experience. 5G is still evolving technology, as you know. Within today, we already see a lot of pioneer enterprises adopting 5G, including Lacroix here, especially a very good example. So moving forward, we will get more real enterprise user to share you their benefit for using 5G. So I just want to share again with you the next activity. Wait a moment. Okay, so after this digital industry webinar workshop, and then on January, we are going to have a focus on new sector, mine and energy. So as I mentioned today, is up with some of the speaker, mine is actually become quite an important sector in APAC, especially with huge, because a lot of market actually, they are have a very rich raw resources on mining and energy. So we are going to having a workshop on January. So if you are working on this area, please let me know, and then we can probably see whether you can be one of the speaker. And then we will have another manufacturing session on February. And then very importantly, I think both Joe and myself already mentioned at MWC Barcelona, we are going to bring our global expert together in a physical event. We of course will work on some key summit, including manufacturing summit, which is led by Joe. And also we have a 5G APAC Alliance summit or roundtable. And then we also have some section on smart mobility, which is focusing on automotive drones, you know, this kind of robotic mobility robot. And then we also have eSIM summit, and some of you also raised question about security. So we will talk about 5G security in the MWC. Of course, we will also have a lot of keynote section in Barcelona, huge exhibition spaces. Right now, we also receiving challenge on 5G transformation or 5G industry challenge. We will also produce case study. So welcome to go to our website to submit some of your cases and compete in our challenge. So some of the winner will get free spaces for showcase. And then of course, we also have our historical GOMO award. So right now it's still opening until 24th of November. So still a few days, you can submit your application for the GOMO award. Okay. So I think most of question is being answered already. So I will still give 1 minute for our speaker to have to answer the question. And then after that, then we will close the session. And if you still have question, welcome to reach to our speaker or myself. We already post our connection, linking connection in the chat box, or you can just email us if you are already in our community. And then of course, we welcome you join any community we mentioned today. We will work together to support more enterprise, more innovator to work on 5G to bring digital transformation for industry. Hi, Sander. Are you responding the final question or?
I'm responding the question about the service fee models.
Okay. So okay, it's done, right? Thank you.
That one is done. The last one about private network slicing, yeah, it's a bit difficult for me. That's more for an MNO from my point of view.
I think so. I think so. Freddie, do you have any idea on this one? How would you orchestrate private network slicing if using different equipment vendor? I know Telkomsel using more than around 4 different vendor, right? Or I should leave it to you offline. You can check and then maybe you see if you can respond later.
Yeah, you can leave it offline, then I will try to reply later. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. So thanks all the speaker panelists and also all the participants. I'm still seeing close to 74 participants waiting here. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time and patience. I hope you enjoy our virtual workshop. So looking forward to see you face to face or virtual again. Thank you very much. Thank you, Joe. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Great to be here. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.